Cowboys Nation, gather around, because what I'm about to break down for you might go down as one of the most electrifying, unexpected, and outright seismic moments in recent Dallas Cowboys history. I mean it, this move isn't just a standard offseason signing, not just a roster adjustment, not just another front office footnote. No, this is a statement, a declaration, a thunderbolt launched across the NFL landscape, announcing that the Dallas Cowboys are no longer sitting back and hoping for a break, but are officially stepping forward with intention, aggression, and fire. Trey Hendrickson, yes, that Trey Hendrickson, the relentless, motor all day, backfield destroying force of nature, has officially been acquired by the Dallas Cowboys in what is already being described as a historic blockbuster deal. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just wait until we unpack everything this means. Because Cowboys fans have been begging for an aggressive move, craving a decisive swing, desperate for the front office to finally act like a franchise that knows the Super Bowl window is open right now. And suddenly, almost out of nowhere, the Cowboys have dropped a dynamite-level bomb on the league by bringing in one of the most violent, productive, and feared pass rushers in the sport. This move isn't just big, it is transformative, the kind of acquisition that instantly shifts expectations, rearranges defensive priorities, and forces every team in the NFC to reconsider how they plan to deal with Dallas when the season kicks off. For years, the Cowboys have been on the brink. Talent? They've had it. Star power? They've had that too. But something was always missing, something essential, something gritty, something mean, something that could turn playoff heartbreak into playoff domination. And that missing piece, that element of defensive violence, that relentless finisher on the edge opposite Micah Parsons, has finally arrived in the form of Trey Hendrickson. Let's talk about how this went down, because the behind-the-scenes energy surrounding this move has been chaotic in the best possible way. From the moment whispers began circulating that Hendrickson might be available, NFL insiders began watching Dallas more closely, trying to understand whether the Cowboys were going to stay quiet as they often do, or whether this time, this year, they were actually going to make the kind of move that tells the football world they're tired of settling. And shockingly, stunningly, they pulled the trigger. With calculated aggression, they finalized terms, moved pieces around, prepared cap space, and made the impossible possible. Now, let's be real here. Anytime a franchise trades for a player of Hendrickson's caliber, people immediately want to know, what did it cost? What did Dallas give up? And look, yes, the Cowboys sent a package that involved a high draft pick, a conditional selection, and a rotational defensive piece. But let's not pretend the price outweighs the product. Trey Hendrickson is, quite literally, the type of player who elevates every defensive snap he's on, the type of presence who forces offensive coordinators to rewrite their entire protections, the type of worker who never quits on a play and turns chaos into opportunity. This isn't a gamble. This isn't a luxury move. This is a home run edition, one of the few moves that actually makes sense for a team with championship aspirations. Because here's what Cowboys fans know deep down: yes, Dallas has had talent. Yes, Dallas has put up numbers. Yes, Dallas has had elite stretches on both sides of the ball. But postseason football isn't about highlights, it's about violence in the trenches, pressure on the quarterback, disruption, and closing out games against elite offenses. And that's exactly what Hendrickson brings. Let's talk specifically about his fit, because this is where things get legitimately terrifying for opposing offenses. Trey Hendrickson is one of the most relentless edge rushers in football. His motor is elite, his get-off is explosive, his handwork is underrated, and his ability to convert speed to power is among the best in the NFL. He doesn't take plays off. He doesn't disappear. He doesn't rely on scheme luck or busted protections. He creates pressure, consistently, efficiently, and violently. Now imagine pairing that with Micah Parsons. Imagine an offensive tackle trying to decide which side to slide toward. Imagine a running back deciding which threat to chip. Imagine a quarterback trying to step into a clean pocket when both edges are collapsing at the same time. This is a defensive coordinator's dream, a quarterback's nightmare, and the kind of pairing that immediately vaults Dallas into the upper echelon of pass rushing duos in the entire league. And speaking of Parsons, let's be honest, last season became a masterclass in how to neutralize one superstar by throwing triple team attention his way. Offenses chipped him, doubled him, slid entire lines toward him, and occasionally even used tight ends just to nudge him off rhythm. But now you can't do that. Now every team that lines up against the Cowboys' defense has to make a choice, and neither choice is good. If you double Parsons, Hendrickson gets one-on-one looks, which he wins more often than not. If you double Hendrickson, Parsons gets unleashed. And if you try to play it straight, well, good luck. This combination finally gives the Cowboys what every championship-caliber defense needs: unpredictability, multiplicity, and the ability to force offenses into mistakes instead of waiting for them. But this move is bigger than just X's and O's. It speaks to something deeper, a shift in organizational mindset. For years, Cowboys fans have criticized the front office for being too passive, too cautious, too willing to rely on in-house development rather than splash moves. But this time, the Cowboys made a bold, aggressive, no excuses, high-impact move that sends a message not only to the fanbase but to the entire league. The message is simple: Dallas is done waiting. The Super Bowl window isn't some distant horizon filled with hope, it's right now. And the Cowboys are acting like it. They're adding a leader, a tone setter, a player who brings physicality every snap. They're giving Micah Parsons the help he's deserved for years. They're reinforcing the defensive identity they've been struggling to fully establish. And they're telling every elite NFC team, the Eagles, the 49ers, the Lions, we're coming. And we're coming with force. But what I find most exciting about this move isn't just the on-field production, it's the energy shift. Trey Hendrickson plays angry. He plays hungry. He plays like someone who wants to change the outcome of a game on every snap. That kind of mentality infects an entire locker room. It lifts teammates. It raises standards. It sparks urgency. And for a Cowboys team that has sometimes struggled with consistent intensity, this becomes the spark they've needed. This becomes the reminder that Super Bowl teams aren't just talented, they're ruthless, relentless, and violently committed to disrupting quarterbacks. And now, with Hendrickson in the building, the Cowboys' defense has a chance to become exactly that. And think about what this does for the Cowboys' defense as a whole. Suddenly, the interior line gets easier assignments because protection can't shift entirely inside. Suddenly, linebackers get cleaner lanes. Suddenly, defensive backs get more rushed throws to capitalize on. Everything becomes easier when the pass rush levels up, and this move might be the biggest level up Dallas has made in years. And beyond that, just imagine the psychological effect. Opposing quarterbacks will spend entire game weeks studying ways to avoid the chaos coming off those edges. Offensive coordinators will lose sleep over stunts, twists, and overload fronts. Offensive linemen will dread the moment they have to line up and deal with 60 minutes of relentless pressure. And that's how you win. Not by hoping, not by relying on big plays, but by breaking offenses down, snap by snap, until the will to compete begins to crack. And Hendrickson brings that, Parsons brings that. Together, they bring something the Cowboys haven't had in decades: a pass rush that can redefine games. So let's say it plainly, this move isn't just big, it's monumental. It's the kind of trade that changes seasons, changes narratives, and potentially changes legacies. And Cowboys fans should be excited, no, ecstatic, because this is the type of all-in moment the franchise has desperately needed. And let me close with this: the NFL heard this move. Every analyst noticed. Every rival fanbase noticed. Every team on the Cowboys' schedule noticed. And deep down, they all know what this means. The Cowboys aren't just talented anymore, they're dangerous. And with Trey Hendrickson now wearing the star, the Dallas Cowboys have officially entered a new era, one defined by aggression, pressure, and the relentless pursuit of a championship. Cowboys Nation, buckle up, because this ride just got real.